Hello all, I'm Marin. Welcome to another reading vlog. This is going to be another catch-up vlog, this time for the Literally Dead book club. So if you are unfamiliar, this is a book club that is hosted by Kayla over at Books and Lala. It focuses on reading mystery, thriller, and horror books, and it runs from February through November each year. Now, the February pick for this book club was Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix. The March book club pick was You Are Fatally Invited by Andy Pliego. And the April pick was The Inheritance by Trisha Saklechka. I am not completely behind on this. I did read Witchcraft for Wayward Girls, which I gave 4 stars, but I need to read March's and April's picks, so that is what you are going to be seeing in this vlog. I am going to be starting with The Inheritance because this is actually on my April TBR and I like the satisfaction of checking things off. So I'm going to go ahead and just read you a little bit of this synopsis. This says, most family reunions end in tears. This one will end in murder. Meet the Agarwals, who have gathered on a private luxury island off the west coast of Scotland for a much anticipated family reunion. Raj, the patriarch and a business tycoon, is about to announce to his wife and 3 children the succession plan for his multi-million-dollar Delhi-based company. Shalini, the fragile matriarch, is ready to have her husband to herself after years of sacrifice to the family business. Myra, the golden child, owner of the island and host of the reunion, is, unbeknownst to her family, on the brink of bankruptcy. Asim, the son and supposed heir, is torn between his love for his wife and his duty to family. Aisha, the youngest, a party girl whose antics are legendary, can't pass up an opportunity to wreak havoc. And then there's Zoe, Asim's wife, the outsider whose #InstaPerfectLife is built on a foundation of lies. They've all got secrets they would die to protect. Who will survive this high-stakes reunion and who will become a victim of their own greed? One thing is certain, this family gathering will shatter more than just their illusions of unity. So this is the one I'm going to be starting with in this vlog. I am looking forward to this one. It sounds very interesting. Domestic thrillers aren't always something that I love, but we'll see how this one goes. I will obviously come back and give you a midway through review, if you will, like I usually do in these vlogs. So let's go ahead and get reading. All right, I am halfway through The Inheritance, so I'm going to go ahead and give you some initial thoughts. I'm on chapter 26, which is page 164. I am listening to this on audio, which I would recommend. I think it does a good job. It has multiple narrators for each of the POV chapters. We are hearing from Myra's point of view and Zoe's point of view to start off, but I kind of was flipping through and I think we get some additional POVs like as the book goes on. But yes, I am halfway through. I am enjoying it so far. However, not a whole lot has happened. So it said in the synopsis, obviously, that I already read to you, that they are all there to kind of hear how the father of the family, Raj, is going to split his money from the sale of his company. And it becomes pretty obvious, like straight off, that there are other things that are going on behind the scenes and nothing is happening in the way that this family thought it was going to. So mostly we are following, again, Zoe, who is Asim's wife. She makes her living as an Instagram influencer, and her and Asim want the money to be able to move to London to get away from the family because Zoe feels very constricted there, I guess would be a good word. She does not like that her mother-in-law keeps like inserting herself into their life and making decisions for them, and she wants her and Asim to have their own life. So they are wanting to use this money to move to London and let Asim open up a company of his own making and kind of start living their own life rather than being under the thumb of their parents or his parents. So that's kind of the setup for Zoe. Myra, on the other hand, needs the money from this inheritance to pay for this luxury island that she has purchased. It is kind of stagnated in terms of its renovation. She wants to open up like a luxury resort slash retreat, but she is out of money. She owes a lot of people money for the various construction projects, and she also owes money just on like the island itself. So she is like drowning in debt, so that's why she needs this inheritance. So those are the two that we're focusing on. I do like that they have very distinct voices. Myra has clearly had some tragedy in her past that kind of keeps getting hinted at. She and her husband have separated, and so we're kind of slowly unraveling what's going on with her and like what had happened to her in the past, whereas Zoe is very much like in the present and just trying to move forward with her and Asim's life, although it's pretty clear that something is going on weird with her as well. She keeps getting these anonymous Instagram messages from a person who keeps like hinting at knowing like secrets or something like that. So there you go. That is pretty much all that's happened in the first half of this book. Although we do know like what is going on with the inheritance at this point. So that kind of came out within the first couple chapters. So I'm very curious to see how the second half of this book is going to go. I'm looking for there to be a little bit more action while I am enjoying the audio and it's keeping me engaged. I would like the plot to move a little bit because I feel like this is a lot of setup and not a lot of actual goings on in the book. So there you go. That is my initial thought. I am liking it so far. Curious to see how it's going to end. And I will let you know what my thoughts and final rating are once I have finished. I have finished reading The Inheritance by Trisha Saklecka. I am going to give this 4 stars. For the bulk of this book, I really enjoyed it. I found it very easy to read. I was listening on audio though. I have seen some people mention in their reviews that they found this very slow and kind of hard to get through. The audio solved that problem. The audio is also narrated by multiple people, so I liked that aspect of it, but I did not like the ending of this at all. So I am going to give this 4 stars. I think it actually could have been a 5-star had the ending gone differently, but something happens at the end that I just hate. So I'm gonna give it 4 stars. I still think this was a solid book. I was on the edge of my seat for a good portion of it. I will say the murder that is promised in the synopsis didn't even happen to like the 90% mark. So know that going in. This is not like going to have like tons of action, for lack of a better word. This is definitely focused on the family. So that's why I would more categorize this as a domestic thriller, as I mentioned when I introduced the book. So there's a lot of secrets. Every member of the family is hiding something, and it takes until about the latter half of the book for everything to kind of get tied up and come to light. So just know that going in. This is not going to be a super fast read if you're reading it physically. I don't think that's been a complaint again with those reviews I've seen, but I would recommend the audio. I really liked the way that that was done. So if you're going to read this, I would recommend audio. I think that will kind of keep you more engaged, and there was a lot of tension and things in the narration, which I really appreciated. So I'm gonna give it 4 stars. Hated the ending though, just did not like the ending, so keep that in mind. Now I'm gonna go ahead and turn my attention to March's pick, which is You Are Fatally Invited. So let's get reading. I am about halfway through, a little over halfway through You Are Fatally Invited, so I wanted to come on and do a little check-in as I do in these vlogs. I'm going to go ahead and start off by reading the synopsis from Goodreads. It says, an exclusive thriller writer's retreat hosted on a private island turns lethal when one of the authors is found murdered in this twisty locked room mystery. When renowned anonymous author J.R. Allister hires former aspiring writer Mila D'Angelo to host a writing retreat at his private manor off the coast of Maine, she jumps at the chance, particularly since she has an axe to grind with one of the invitees. The guest list, 6 thriller authors, all masters of deceit, misdirection, and mayhem. Confess the crimes, survive the tropes. Allister and Mila have masterminded a week of games, trope-fueled riddles, and maybe a jump scare or two. The perfect cover for Mila to plot a murder of her own. But when a guest turns up dead and it's not the murder she planned, Mila finds herself trapped in a different narrative altogether. One by one, you'll lose your turn. With a storm cutting off the island and the body count rising, Mila must outwit a killer who knows literally every trick in the book, until only one of us remains. So you can tell from that they are taking a lot of inspiration from And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie, as a lot of thriller writers do. It's interesting that this one is also set on an isolated island, just like The Inheritance, which you already heard me talk about in this video. So it's just kind of interesting that both the March and April picks have like a setting on an island, and they are a little similar, like in plot, tropes, etc. Although obviously The Inheritance was focused on a family and this one is focused on like 6 strangers. But I am enjoying this. I'm listening to this solely on audio because I do not have a physical copy. But one thing I do like is that it is a full cast narrative. So each POV has a different narrator, which helps kind of bring the story to life and keep it from getting confusing. I feel like there have been a decent number of twists and turns already in the first half, but I am definitely ready for some answers, and I am curious to see how the story is going to wrap up and ultimately end. And I really want to know who J.R. Allister, the like mystery thriller writer that's hosting the retreat, actually is, because I have not sussed that out at all yet. So that is my little update. I am enjoying it. I would highly recommend the audio. Obviously, I can't compare it to the physical read, but the audio is very well done. I really, really like the narrators that they chose for the POV characters that we have met so far. So I believe we have had 5 POV characters at this point in the book. So yes, I'm enjoying it and curious to see where it's going to wind up. At the end of this one, I will kind of give you a ranking of the 3 books that I've read for the Literally Dead Book Club so far, and we'll kind of do some comparisons because I did not talk about Witchcraft for Wayward Girls on a vlog, I don't think. Maybe I did. I really can't remember. But yes, I will see you when this book is over with my full review and final rating. I have just finished You Are Fatally Invited, if you can see that right there. And I'm going to give this the same rating that I gave The Inheritance and ultimately Witchcraft for Wayward Girls as well, which is 4 stars. I definitely liked this one. It had lots of twists and turns, and the second half of the book definitely had me kind of guessing, and I was not correct about most things. So in the second half of the book, the POVs kind of take a little bit of a shift. So at the start, we are getting just the character names. And then in the second half, we start getting like their crimes. So things like the thief, the serial killer, the et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I found that really interesting. I was trying to like piece together who might be whichever crime, and I did not have any of them correct. So in that respect, it kept me guessing, and I really, really enjoyed it. I just don't know that this was a 5-star for me personally, even though I had a good time with it. So yeah, I'm giving it 4 stars. I liked it. I, again, would recommend the audio. I liked the multiple narrators. I just think that really helps bring a story to life. And this one definitely had a lot of twists and turns that I did not see coming. So bonus points for that. But yes, I'm going to give it 4 stars. Now, in terms of the 3 books that I have read for the Literally Dead Book Club, that means all 4 of them have gotten the same rating, which is good. So I think if I were to rate them, I would put You Are Fatally Invited first because I felt like that one had the most action and the most twists, and it kept me guessing. So that one's gonna go first. I'm gonna put Witchcraft for Wayward Girls second, And then The Inheritance third because of the ending. I just didn't like the ending. Already talked about that. But yes, so I'm officially caught up on the Literally Dead book club and I'm ready for May's pick. That one is in the process of coming to me, so hopefully I will be able to read that in the actual month and I won't fall behind again. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel if you would like to see more from me. If you made it to the end of this video and would like to leave me an emoji to show that you were here, you can leave me a boat emoji, because that is how both of the groups of people got to their isolated island in both of these books. So there you go. I will see you in my next video. Bye, everyone.